Hello and welcome to another episode of AgapeDads. I'm Julian Cortez, and today we have the great pleasure of hearing the experience of Wesley Glogg, father of one. Wes, how are you doing?
How you doing, Julian? Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Cool. If you could start off by letting us know what was life like for you growing up as a kid.
Growing up, I had ups and downs. I come from a broken home. My parents got divorced when I was 8. So there were some good times. There were some bad times. But I think it's made me the person I am today.
Take us on a journey of when you became a dad for the first time.
Amazing journey. My wife and I got pregnant on our honeymoon, so we didn't waste any time. And then 9 months later, George came out, and it was amazing since the day he's been here. It's been a roller coaster. Waking up at 5 a.m, my wife's water breaking, rushing to the hospital. It never stops, but it's so rewarding. It's just amazing.
How would you describe yourself as a dad if you were to describe yourself?
I'd like to describe myself as a good dad. You have to ask my wife and my son about that. But I just try to be the best, most attentive dad I can be. Just give him as much love as I can, and attention, and hopefully not spoil him too much.
What are some of the challenges as a father that you might have faced thus far, a year in, and what were some practical ways that you probably went about to handle them?
Being a new father, every day is challenging. Obviously, you're never around the baby, so you come home from the hospital where all the nurses are taken care of and everyone's taken care of. You get home and it's kind of a realizing experience, like, oh man, I got this baby, I got to take care of him. Just try to take a breath and be patient and know that he's an infant, and if he's crying, he can't control it. You know what I mean? And just try to give him as much knowledge as I can and be calm and loving.
If there's any rewards for fatherhood, what would you say that they are?
Every day's a reward. Just being around him's a reward. I don't think there's one rewarding aspect. I think everything's rewarding. Having him eat, feeding a child is just rewarding. The joy that brings them, it's a simple task, but the joy that giving him food and being able to provide for him is it's overwhelming.
What are your views on how some say that fathers are disciplinarians and mothers are nurturers? What are your views on that? What do you say?
I think both parents need to be both nurturing and disciplinarians. I think the old school way of the father not showing any affection or emotion and just coming home and eating his dinner and then watching his TV and only yelling at his kids when they have bad grades and stuff. I think that's a negative on raising a child. You need to show your child love and affection, and from both parents. They need to feel a woman's love and a man's love as well.
Definitely. And I know that there are a lot of fathers out there who feel that they need to be the breadwinners and who may work 1-2 jobs just to support their family. What is your work schedule like, and do you feel that you have enough time for George?
My work schedule, I work a normal 9 to 5, thank God. I used to be on the road, which I think it'd be impossible to have a kid and be on the road. But he goes to daycare. We pick him up at 4 o'clock when I get home, and from 4 to 6:30 every day, I try to spend as much time with him, and it stinks. I always tell my wife the one positive thing about this coronavirus and this quarantine is we've been in the house with him since, March 18th, no daycare. So it's just been constant interacting, which has just been amazing. Mm-hmm. And just to see his daily growth of learning to walk and coming up with new words. And, it's really amazing. I tell my wife, I think out of all our kids, he's going to be the closest to us because we spent this time that none of our kids are going to get in the future.
And then now you say out of all your kids, so you're a father of one. So how many are you planning to have?
As many as I can afford. That's the only thing holding us back right now. My wife would be pregnant if daycare wasn't as expensive as it is in New York City.
Yeah, I agree.
Sending 2 to daycare in New York City is more than a mortgage. So I got to buy a house. I want to buy a house first.
What advice might you give fathers who might be going through the same thing of paying for daycare, working more than one job, and not having enough time for their kids?
Just take every moment that you have. Don't take it for granted. If you're tired or cranky, you got to be selfless. You can't get this time back. So you just need to provide as much as you can. Hope you have a supportive spouse that understands that you're trying to provide and you're trying to be a good father and you're trying to give them as much time. But like, I think just showing them care and affection in my year experience so far can just change them and make them happy. My son is, everyone says, oh, he's so happy. Why is he so happy? And I think it's just because we give him so much love and affection. And for me, it's easy. I mean, I don't, you hear these fathers that like leave or they're not around. I don't understand that. You know, I always want to be around my son. I'd rather be home than at work. And I can't even watch the cameras at school because it breaks my heart because I'm not there hanging with them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know that there's some fathers that look for extra time to stay outside of their homes. I don't understand. I love my son as well, and I'm just like you. Any moment you get to like rush home, you know, I just, that's what.
Yeah, I don't really drink, so I'm not like at the bar hanging out. Like, I try to spend as much time. I even feel guilty if I like plan something with my buddies for like a couple weekends away, you know. But you know, you got to be selfless.
Knowing what you know now, what advice would you have given Wes before he became a dad?
Just practice your patience. There's a lot of things that, like I said before, a baby doesn't know what they're doing. So just practice patience. You're going to go through a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of gross stuff, but you just have to overcome it, be patient, and know that it's all worth it and that this person's relying on you 1,000%, that without you, they wouldn't be here, wouldn't be able to function. So
when George is old enough and someone were to ask him, like, describe your childhood, what was your childhood like? What would you hope or think he would say?
I hope he says that my parents were great. They loved me. Childhood was stress-free. I never had a want for anything or need for anything. I don't want him to feel sadness or anything. I know you and I previously talked. I don't want him to ever know the word hate. I think that's important. I think if the child doesn't even know the word, has never heard, it's foreign, they're not going to know what that means or that feeling. So I just want him to be happy and stress-free. The exact opposite of my childhood.
If you could elaborate, like, what are your views on the word hate so the viewers would know?
I mean, it's just like in our society today, hate is such a vile term. Like if you hate something or somebody, it brings such emotion. So my feeling is if the child never it's a crazy concept, but if the child never hears the word, how are they going to, know the connotation of that word if they never hear it? So if you never say, oh, I hate this or I hate that, or when they hear that in their outside of your home, they're not going to know what that word means. They'll have to make their own opinion about it. And I think it will be less likely to be a negative connotation. Obviously, hate is a negative connotation, but they won't use it to fuel themselves or hate something or a group of people,
Yeah. Aside from that, what are other things you are definitely going to try to instill in George?
Just to have good morals and be a good person. I think in this world, being a good person can get you far, far in this world. As long as you're a good person and have morals, people see that. When you first meet someone in the first 10 minutes, you can kind of tell who this person is. So I think just being a good person can get you far.
What are you looking forward to as a dad?
I just want George to be happy and successful in life with whatever he does. If that's, being a New York City garbage man or that's being the president of the United States, I just want him to be happy. And I think if you're happy from the beginning of your life, it's a good start. You don't have those stressors. You don't have those negative feelings and that sadness. So I just want him to be happy and a good person. And I think we're on a good track so far, but we'll see.
Yeah. And then are there any types of subjects or ideologies or anything that you are personally going to want to teach George when he's growing up?
I'm big into positive thinking. I think if you are positive about a situation and you project positive thoughts, positive things are going to come to you in your life. Just kind of goes back to being a good person. If you're going to put positive vibes out and be a good person, positive things are going to happen to you. just like in the contrary, if you're going to be a negative person and be doing risky behaviors, risky things are going to happen to you. So
Yeah.
you might hit the lottery once, but if you don't play it, you're going to save that money, you know?
Has there been any memorable moments that always make you laugh every time you think about it?
Getting pooped on, man. Nobody tells you that when you're in those 9 months. They tell you all the happiness and this, and you get pooped on a lot, man. If you're not ready for that. I have a buddy, he's a new parent, didn't have any babies in his family or anything. He's getting pooped and peed on. So
Did you learn how to change a diaper at first, or did you already know?
I have younger siblings. I have a 4-year-old brother, a 7-year-old sister, and a 10-year-old brother. So in my later life, my dad had kids, so I was always around babies. My brother-in-law, my nephews are young. My sister-in-law, my niece is young. So I feel like I was always around babies.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just tackled it head on. I was like, yeah, let me change the diaper. I'm going to screw up. I mean, I still screw up. I changed his diaper wrong yesterday, and he went, he pooped and it wasn't on straight. And I had to, it's a whole process, changing him. And
yeah, that's awesome.
No, my wife always gives me a hard time every night. At least once or twice a night, I tell her, I'm like, let's go wake him up before we go to bed. I just want to play with him. I want to hang out with him. He brings so much happiness and cheeriness to our lives. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, earlier you were talking about like having a supportive spouse. Has there been anything that you felt that you had to compromise on because you come from two different backgrounds probably, and you had different aspects or thoughts on a certain situation that you had to compromise on?
We both grew up kind of in similar situations. Both our parents are divorced. So I think we always say that we have the roadmap to not screwing up, because both our parents have been divorced and remarried a couple times. Maybe the compromise is something minimal. My wife, when we make the bottle, New York City water is the best in the world. So I just use hot water right from the sink. And my wife wants to use, the purified Poland spring water.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that I had a compromise with that. No big compromises. We discuss it, and I think we have different feelings here and there. I'm sure once, like you said, disciplining comes into effect, there'll be but it's all about compromising and communication. And I think your kids see that and they learn and pick up from that too. So
if there was one piece of advice that you could give fathers right now, what might that be?
Just be positive, happy, and be selfless. I know that's hard as a human being to be selfless, but your kids are relying on you 100%, especially, infants and 1-year-olds, literally 100%. So you got to be selfless, and time will come where you can take a break and close your eyes. It might be far between, but it's all worth it in the end. The walking, the talking, like I said before, the eating, those are all rewarding things to me. I can overlook those, or I can have, a coffee and not be tired.
I think that's an awesome point to end there, because I think that's a great advice to give fathers. So I would like to thank you, Wes, for taking time to have this interview with me.
No problem, Julian. Good luck on the site, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Hope all is well.
Thank you. And thank you for listening to another episode of AgapeDads. If you want more information or to watch previous episodes, you can go to our website at AgapeDads.com. You could go over to our YouTube channel and make sure to subscribe there. Or if you're on the go, download the podcast. Thanks again. Thanks for watching.